Welcome to the Chris Bianchi Show. Music, entertainment, and all-around life discussions.
Thanks so much for tuning in here. Welcome to episode number 2 on this beautiful Thursday here in Ohio. The fall weather is starting to definitely take effect, and I kind of like it, but I'm always a huge summer fan. I love when it's hot outside and you just go outside and the sun's shining and it's a beautiful blue sky, but there is something especially about Ohio or like where I'm from when the fall does kick in and the leaves change and everybody kind of switches to fall mode. It is really nice, so I guess I can't deny that. But today, really what I'm going to talk about is just a couple funny tour stories that have happened to me over the years that come to mind. There's 2 specific ones really that there's been so many that it's hard to even keep a track of, but there's 2 specific ones that definitely come to mind, and I'm going to go over each of those and talk about them a little bit. So the first one is one of our first tours that we ever did in my band Forever in Terror. This was probably 2006, I want to say, something around there, but we didn't have a booking agent quite yet. We were just freshly signed to Metal Blade Records, and we needed to get out on the road to promote our new album that was out or just about to come out, one of the 2, I can't exactly remember. But either way, so we start self-booking, and this was the day of MySpace era. So, I think I booked some of the dates on MySpace. We had another band we were touring with. I think they booked some of the dates, kind of a hodgepodge of all of us working together to just try to get it right, basically. So we get some of the dates. I forget exactly where all we went to, but I know it was like Midwestern type of a situation. So we go through and meet up with our friends' bands called Aesthetic, who were from Oklahoma. We ended up having the first date, and it was in a place, Salina, I'm not sure how you say it, but Salina, Kansas. So we drive from Ohio to start this tour. We had no money at all. We just had a couple dollars in a dream. We start driving. It takes us forever and forever. We're seeing windmills. We're seeing all this weird shit that we've never seen before, leaving outside of Ohio. Finally get out to there. And this venue is the most DIY, run down bunk kind of piece of shit place you've ever seen. No offense to them, whoever the people were, but it was kind of like an indie community center type of a place. So we had just driven, 12, 13 hours, something crazy to get to this first date of our tour. We're all pumped up, and then we arrived to this place where it's like graffiti walls. It's like built into an old factory where it just looks from the 1900s and run down. And to top it all off, so we get there and there's nobody in sight. I'm talking no people in sight at all. No cars, no promoter, no anything whatsoever at all. So we go and knock on this venue's door because it's the time for the load-in. It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. We knock on the door. Nobody answers. And we're all thinking, dude, did we just drive, 12 hours to start this tour, and the first date of the freaking tour, nobody's even here? They're not even going to show up, or there's no local bands, there's no anything. So we wait, and finally, this guy comes and answers the door, and he's literally dressed, the best way I can describe this is like a Gulliver's Travels. He has an old painter's top hat on, no other clothes, but he has a really tight jumpsuit on, like a painter's or like a workman's bib overalls that are jeans, but they're cut off and turned into shorts really tight, and then a bandana around his neck. And he reaches out and he's like, hello, my name is, introduced himself or whatever, and he's like, I kind of run this venue and I kind of live here. So we ask, a couple questions and start talking to the guy. Oh, tell us some more about this place and stuff. And you could see by the look of it, it was really DIY. Once we got inside, it smelled. There was a piece of shit wooden stage half falling apart, and the PA system even was one of those ones that you buy when you're a starter from a local music shop for $200. It was barely held together, even working. So this guy's story was he had been a traveler that jumped train cars, and apparently somehow ended up in Salina, Kansas, and jumped and ended up at this place. And the lady there couldn't take care of the place, so she put him in charge of it. So he was just basically living here, had a bunch of cats running around the venue, never really booked any real legitimate shows. Somehow it got listed online that he was booking stuff, so we ended up connecting with him again through, MySpace days, not knowing any better. And man, literally no one came to the show. We made absolutely $0. We played for the other band on a bunk-ass PA system that day, and just pretty much listened to stories from, who we call them Gulliver's Travels on, jumping trains and all the crazy shit that he had once done. So that's how I kicked off my first tour pretty much ever, in the middle of Salina, Kansas, and I'll never forget that one. So the second one, and this one came a little bit later on in my touring days after my first band had stopped touring. I was in another band that was more like screamo, and we decided, hey, we want to go out on the road for a couple days and just kind of have some fun and whatever. It wasn't really too serious of a thing. So we, again, kind of went the DIY route, self-booked some shows. We ended up going, and I think this was in like Indiana or Illinois, I can't remember. But this was like, call it your local hole-in-the-wall sports bar and grill. They had a little stage in the side where you could obviously blatantly tell they did like local cover bands on the weekends and stuff. Somehow we ended up getting booked at this place on our tour. So it's like a Wednesday or Thursday night. We show up here. There's only one bartender and a couple random guys sitting at the bar, and they're like, oh, you guys are a band, you're going to be playing tonight? Nobody knew there was even a package coming in or anything. So we go in, set up all of our equipment, do our own sound check. We had to run our own sound, which they did have a little bit of a workable PA, but we ran our own sound and lights that night. And then there was only two guys that were sitting at the bar. So that ended up being the only two guys that came through the door that entire night, besides maybe two other people. So there was a total of maybe, say 6 people in this entire place. We go on, we do our set, rock it out as hard as we can. Those two guys were, by the time we went on, they were smashed drunk. So they were standing at the front of the stage cheering us on. You guys kick ass, dude. You're the best band I ever heard, dude. And fucking had us play a song because the one guy was having a breakdown because he was too drunk, cried to us a little bit, so he had us play instrumentally after our set was over so he could go on the stage and like recite kind of like an Eminem rap type poem over our rock music that we played for him because we felt bad. So then after that, we didn't get paid like anything, but the bartender that was there felt really bad for us, and apparently this place was known for making like food and whatever, kind of a hometown kitchen-y bar grill sports bar thing. So to make it better for us, she's like, you guys want some food? And cooked us all meatloaf, so we got to at least eat meatloaf that night, and I'll never forget it. The other two people that were in the bar that kind of watched our set but really didn't give a fuck, one of them was like an old Army veteran, and he was really cool and polite, so we got to chatting it up with him after all that was said and done, had a couple drinks, and somehow ended up into a punching contest with him at the punching machine that was in the place. So this guy's punching it, all of our band members are punching it, we're calling each other pussies, all in good fun. Obviously it was nothing that was like a fight or anything, but it was just like one of the weirdest nights that you could ever have on a tour on a random Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever Thursday night it was. You end up playing for two drunk guys, you end up letting this guy do Eminem karaoke, the bartender feels bad and cooks you meatloaf, and then you end up in a fucking punching contest with a random military guy, all in a day's work, a day on the road out there. So those are two stories that come to mind, and something like I don't think I'll ever forget in my life of just the randomness of it. But I guess another fact of positivity to say is, out of all the states, I think I've been to 42 states or something crazy, met hundreds and thousands of people of all kinds, and it is so crazy how like no matter where you go, people are really the same deep down at heart. They're good people. They're awesome-ass people. You get to meet them. You get to know a little bit about their life, and you'd be surprised how many people are willing to, like, open their doors for you comfortably, open their hearts for you, and treat you just like you've known them. When you're out there and you're in Florida, but you're from Ohio, or you're in California, but you're from Ohio, and people are like, hey, man, come on in. Yeah, you guys can crash at my place. Here, I got some food. Just, like, anything to make you feel welcome just truly is so insane out there. And I think that's something that a lot of bands sometimes, when they're in the moment and having those rough moments out there on the road and stuff, maybe tend to overlook or forget or think, oh, this fucking sucks, I'm living in a gas station, or we're eating hot dogs or whatever. But try to take a step back sometimes, even if you're in that whole growing phase of rough shows sometimes and struggling, to like, these are the moments that make it all worth it. This is the part of the stuff that's worth it, because once you make it there, I mean, that's awesome, and you make it to the top. We always want to get there, but it's about the experience and the journey along the way. And I still think that's like the best part. I have so many unlimited memories of the journey that I'll take with me to heart forever. So that's pretty much my rant today about my tour stories that I can think of. I'm sure there's a billion more, but if you guys are out there and you've been on the road, write to me and let me know what's been some crazy ones that you've experienced. I'm sure there's something far more insane, and there's a couple that I can't tell even because they're a little extreme and stuff, but I'd like to hear from you about some of your experiences. So thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.